absolute belters over the game fair 3 days. Why have you shaved your vulture's head like that? Why have I shaved the vulture? I was just joking. How bored do you think I am? That's what they look like. We're going to bring another one out in a minute or two. The last one of the clean-up crew. The final mechanic to come in and take apart that big old dirty zebra. And to do this right now, then we need to first of all move this vulture, because this vulture does not get on particularly well with the next one that's going to join in. We do intend to hopefully have all 3 in the arena by the end of the season, but it's a work in progress. So we'll let Rebecca keep her eye on that one across there. As you can see, he's very keen on just watching what she's up to. And while he's busy doing that there, we'll get our next one ready. So in you go out. Flying is great fun. While she's busy doing her thing just there with Bex, we're going to see if Dyson will come and join me just down here. And I'm going to now be the dead zebra. Need a good imagination for my displays, guys. Work with me here. This dead zebra now on the floor, in his final part now, the vulture has climbed inside and begins to strip the meat from the carcass. He will eat about 4 pounds, 5 pounds every 3 or 4 minutes, and it is ramming it down its neck, as you can clearly see. Totally zoned out on what else is going on. Other vultures start to grab and to bite and to push and shove, 20, 30, 40, covered in the carcass. At this point now, vultures are just in their own little world. You can even put your arm around him, pick him up like he's a bag of spuds, and he ain't bothered. Couldn't care less. A feeding vulture just gets on with it, and they are brilliant fun to work with. Also, it highlights as well just how important these are in the wild. So what we're going to do now is sneak that little radio tracker off him, let Bex take him away from us and load him back in the vehicle. She has quite an unusual method to do this, so just keep one eye on that. We're going to come to you, okay? To get that vulture back in the vehicle though, I don't like her handling him around that box with food, because they can get a little bit beaky around your head, all right? So what she tends to do is feed him just there, keep him busy a second, open the box door, drop a bit of food on the floor, and in one careful manoeuvre, straight down, straight up, and straight in. Give him a lovely clap. Well done, Rebecca and Dyson. The beautiful little Thelma will work her socks off and give me just enough time to tell you what's going on with vultures around the world. 15, 20 years ago, vultures suffering massive problems because a product called diclofenac got into the food chain. Diclofenac you and I will use for a sports injury, a bad back, an inflamed area. But it flattens vultures in a matter of days. They didn't get wiped out by this, but thankfully it was quickly highlighted, and more than, loads of effort and much work was put into getting these birds back on track. Breeding projects with established conservation areas and the product out of production in many parts of the world. They just sort of started to recover from that, but then a bigger thing started to really hit home. The illegal trade in ivory, rhinoceros horn and elephant tusk has led to a huge decline in vulture. And it's quite odd to think how that may work, but bear with me. If an elephant is shot for his tusk or rhino for his horn, a massive carcass, a huge amount of food is now available to Africa's carrion feeding animals. The vultures learned to follow the poachers around the reserve and exploit this amount of free food. But in following the poachers around, it was almost like waving a flag over the head of what they were doing. This was bringing the poaching squads and the people that were wardens in the area straight to where they were operating, and they were getting caught and captured. Unfortunately, though, that made them enemy number one. They then started to directly target the vulture, lacing carcass with poison, pesticide and even weed killer to kill off the vulture and stop them giving away what they were getting up to on the reserves. Hundreds and thousands of vultures have died in the last couple of years because of this, and it's a real sad thing, because it always comes back to the same thing, and that's generally man's greed and us not interfering. So my little idea was this. Just one guy in the top of North Yorkshire, but I've got a beautiful little collection of vultures and eagles from around the world. If I could breed one of them, or a white-headed, or just a whiteback, and that went to live somewhere else that bred another one, then we've got a few more in captivity, and if they went somewhere else, and eventually started trickling little numbers back in the wild, and a few other people were doing that, we've got a bit of a way of pulling things back right again, if we can just get it heading in the right direction. But it costs a fortune, so this is the way I've always worked out will fund it the best for me. This little vulture is a beautiful creature. But back to things said at the stand. Earlier on today, member of the audience, probably stood here right now, stood at the stand and went, "That a vulture?" I said, "You're absolutely right, yeah. Ugly, innit?" I thought, pot kettle. You should have seen her, eh? That's got a job to do, like the other two that you've seen before. And they're all a little bit unique unique in how they look and how they're shaped and how they've evolved, but to do that wonderful little part of the job. She'd be in at the very end like a little Henry Hoover, clearing up the scraps the other ones don't seem worthwhile eating. And these are the last little bit in that chain there before the bugs and beasties come in for the final sweep. This is a little cracker, this one. Brought into captivity to go in a breeding project, she would join 5 other vultures in a large northern zoo. Unfortunately, it never worked out, because that little vulture will pick a flight with its own reflection. Bad-tempered, it'll fight anything you put near it. So the zoo tried all sorts. Eventually, after a year of hard effort, the decision was made to rehome the trouble-causing Thelma, and she would come and live with me. Arrived on a Wednesday morning in a great big wooden crate, we took her out of the box, gave her the once-over, and quickly discovered we were going to have a problem or two. The 2 toes on our right foot were badly bruised and bright pink in colour, and nobody really knew what had gone on. We took her to the vet, and the vet said it's not actually bruising on those 2 toes, instead it's the start of frostbite. Now, frostbite's serious for anything but a creature on its legs the bulk of its day. It could be life-threatening. So for the next 6 weeks, medications, creams and sprays were used. But after 6 weeks, it got no better, it had got worse. A decision was made for an operation. It would last 45 minutes, resulting in Thelma having 2 toes chopped off and cost £1,700. I felt terrible, mate. Not for the money, I just thought that's down to people being sloppy. You pay what you pay to keep animals right, and ours go into heated indoor enclosures in winter. You change the diet, you change the base of the aviary from gravel to sand and so on. I thought, I'm going to put hours into training you and make sure you turn into an absolute little belter of a display bird. Then we can get people on board and everyone will hopefully start to like vultures. I never needed to. At 24 years old, that's been on this earth 3 years longer than I've been doing this for the job. She knows it inside out. And I like that. She's a feral little wild vulture, but she works beautifully well. If I bring her across now, watch to the floor, pop her just down there for a piece of food, and I kneel down on the grass beside her, she will leg it across towards me. And greedily feed from the fingers of your right hand, look at that. But the minute your food is gone, this little wild vulture will leg it quicker than a stab rat, you can't get near it. And I've always quite liked that. Never liked me birds to be silly tame. Never quite got that whole poke and stroke described as falconry where sticky-fingered kids are mauling a barn owl for a £3 photograph. Wasn't my gig. I know they don't like being messed about with. I like them just to fly, do their thing, have a bit of grub, maybe breed if they're lucky enough to get that far. Can we have one more flight, Thelma? Then we're going to get onto something enormous to finish this display off. We'll try and add a bit of pressure now and see if you're really up for this today. So first things first, we need you back on this perch. Right. Then we're going to give you 3 seconds to get yourself airborne from when we decide and see if we can get an absolute belter to finish off with. You ready? Okay. 3 seconds, right? 3, 2, 1, go! Look at it. Desperate for freedom, longing to be cut loose of her tether, she bursts into action. Bursts into action for one more final flight. Giving a wonderful round of applause, guys. What a great bit of fun today. The beautiful little Thelma working her socks off. Just enough breeze there today to get a great bit of flying from these big birds, and she is really enjoying herself. I'm going to bring her across, take her under control and walk back over to the vehicle just there. We'll pop her inside, get her out of the way, and we'll move on to the final bird in this display, which is the beautiful Stella's sea eagle. She has been a handful over the last 3 days, but flying spectacularly well. I don't often do shows where there are other falconry birds. Never really fit into that whole falconry type click thing, me. I've just done my own little thing over the last few years. But it's wonderful to see so many good displays being put on in this arena, and there has been some amazing flying today with the breeze. The reason I don't often do shows with other birds is my birds quite like to eat other birds. And it just adds a little bit more stress. So I try and dance around, you know, going to game fairs where there's falconry villages and so on. But we've had some cracking fun, and this should be brilliant. The wind is coming straight at me, and that's exactly what I wanted for this last bird. Let me take you back to how the story began. What? What's that dog barking at? Is it eating the seat again? Right, just behave yourself, a pair of you now. Don't you encourage him either. When I was 8 years old, I opened a book. Centre of that book, the Stella's sea eagle, the world's largest eagle. I thought, that looks like somewhere you could catch a bear with. At 8-year-old, I was a right feral little kid. I grew up in a market town called Massam, in the back end of nowhere in the North Yorkshire Dales. Most you ever saw was a tawny owl and sparrowhawk if you were lucky. And this thing looked the business. A few years later, I'm talking via email to a guy in Estonia. This guy would sell me a male that he had surplus. Wasn't a young bird, just over 4. And I could have this male for a ridiculous sum of money. I was trying to be an adult at this point in my life, saving to buy a house, and had a fairly reasonable deposit behind me. The future looked kind of bright. I was thinking about this dilemma for at least 30 seconds, and I thought, you know what, I'll transfer the money, and I bought the Sea Eagle. I blew the entire deposit and bought the Stella Sea Eagle, imported it into the UK, and went to pick it up from Leeds Bradford Airport with my pal. He said, let's get it home and have a look at it. I thought, stuff that, get it in a van, let's have it out. It is like a pterodactyl, this thing. Could not believe I've got it. World's largest eagle in the back of a Citroen Berlingo, eh? Brilliant. Let's get home and train him. I never ever got that eagle where I wanted it to be. At home it was spectacular, but every falconer will tell you the bird's better than when it's at home, you know? It's like it was a fish that was this big. I used to film it and put it on that Facebook and Becca would upload it, and it just doesn't look the same, is it? In an event like this, he was alright, until a crisp packet blew in the arena, or a kid threw a tennis ball, or a paramedic went past on a bike, or just something a bit out of the ordinary, and it just vaporised over horizons. He won't go to a tree for 10 minutes, he'd go to 1,000 foot for like the rest of the week. He'd come back, but never when you wanted him to. He'd come back when like the Cocker Spaniels were doing like a scurry or something in the arena. He sat at back at the thing going, it's going to eat someone's dog, you know. I tried for all sorts for 6 months, 7 months, went on for ages. 5 years later, still no real further forward. I thought, I'm going to buy it a female. That'll bring it on track, there's a good idea. If you've got one problem, you might as well have 2, haven't you, you know? I bought a female, but to do that I sold my Land Rover. Bought a female and fetched her across. This time I bought it with my head and not my heart though, and that female arrived at 8 months old. Now the male bird took 16 weeks to dip his head and feed from my hand, he was that blooming timid. The female was flying in 11 days. I have never had a creature as willing to do the job as this thing, and she is beautiful. See this bottom box just here, you guys are in a great place there, watch this now. It's at the start of Jurassic Park, you know where the guys get the dinosaur and he pulls him in and gobbles him up, what? Look at that there. It is just keen as mustard at this point to be out. So we'll get her out. 18 pound, 11 ounces of Russian Sea Eagle. And this thing can proper fly. So we'll see what we can get her to do today. We're going to first of all go through the routine we go through every single day when we're back at home training. I am consistently probably the most boring guy you'll ever meet on a day-to-day. I get up at 5, I go for a little run in the morning with my dog up the hill, I come back, smash a bowl of breakfast off, fly my eagles, load my car, go and scare some seagulls. But that means when I put my eagle in front of me, I generally know what it's probably going to do. It'll begin its training with a little wiggle of the tail. That's her sort of going, yeah, right, okay. Now her tail looks a bit raggy because she's been behind that box door desperate to come out for the last 20 minutes, but a little wiggle of the tail generally sets the scene. But what I've noticed with her is, she always flies at her best if you give her a chance to go to the loo before you ask her to take off. So right now every one of you is waiting for the biggest eagle in the world to go to the loo. But don't worry, you can near on set your watch by it. In about the next 15 seconds time, that massive Russian eagle will lift its tail up, go to the loo, and with a bit of luck, we can crack on with the final part of today's display. So right now then, you've got about 5 seconds left. Could you get things moving, please? Right, we're ready. Off we go then. If the large Russian eagle's flying towards you, get out of the way, it's not polite, duck. Well done. We'll send it out and across the game fair now into a bit of open breeze and see what we can push our luck with today. If she looks at a bit of breeze, she'll pick it up like that. Or when she finds that bit of breeze, she'll swing herself round with a bit of luck, drop her legs, displace some air, wiggle her bum and land beautifully well. Give her a nice big round of applause, that'll do to start with. It's a big girl, isn't it, eh? It's like a modern day dinosaur. I love it when you fly it. You see I fly it now, just leg it and get out of the way straight away. I will fly it to my hands shortly, but not yet. It's wound up as out today. Let's see what we can get from her, and I'll tell you a little bit about her. I've been having to play catch-up all the time. She's been super quick lately, all right? Designed, evolved for the east coast of Russia. Not a very nice place to live in the middle of winter. Minus 30 and below, and 50 and 60 mile-an-hour winds smash against the sea cliffs. These things dance about on that breeze, so it has never yet, in all the time I've flown her, been too windy to fly it at an event. 43 mile-an-hour gusts is the most I've flown it in, and it knocked it out the park. It loves it. So keep your eyes on her, we'll see what we can get, all right? She is really up for it today. So she's scooting about that coastline of Russia and she's looking for a bit of grub. When she's out there flying about and looking for food, food can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Usually it's fish. Primarily she's a fish-catching eagle, a beefed-up version of the bald eagle that you saw earlier. Oh, we're going to have a problem now if we aren't careful. Anything goes wrong with this bird in a display, like she drops a piece of food, it is always my fault. Clearly, nothing to do with me then at all, but right now, that is my fault. And look at this now. That is the walk of an eagle that is going to give you a right good kicking. Look at it. It is going, you are having this, Ben, right now. So you have to sort of neutralise this scenario. Watch, you just go, look, I don't want to fight with you, you big honourable thing, all right? We're going to work together today. So how about you walk that way, I'll turn around and walk the other way, and we get some sort of an understanding between each other, okay? That's the only way it's going to move forward. I'm not picking a fight with you today. You look way big and scarier than what I can ever be. So we need to get things moving. So you walk off that way, fly, do whatever you want. I'll go the other way, same direction. Nobody gets upset about it. Takes a minute for the penny to drop, but the penny will drop if we're lucky in a second's time, and we can just carry on. You see, if that eagle in the wild saw another eagle eating a great big fish, she wouldn't say, well done Steve, your fish is massive, enjoy it. She'd nick his fish. And when I bring her to the floor, or she's on the ground, she just can't help herself but have a little bit of a chew and a go with me like that. That's how she is. Watch out with the edge just there, a little bit close for comfort. And we should get back on track nicely. Right, okay. How are we for time? We all right, Bex? To be honest with you, it's our last show today. We can overrun by an hour if we want. They aren't going to throw us out, I don't know. We're going anyway. Right. Let's try and get a bit more from her. Flying up and down the coastline of Russia, then they're feeding on seagulls, occasionally young seals, the carcass of whale washed ashore, and pretty much anything else they can get. They hang around in Japan, Hokkaido Island, and back up to Kamchatka Peninsula. These are a beautiful thing. Massive in size, not because they carry off bears, as I once thought as a feral small boy. Massive in size because they pile about 8 pounds of weight to get through that busy, hard winter time. That 8 pound of jacket of fat around their body will keep them alive. Think of the kit you would need to survive winter in Russia. This thing does it with what nature gave it just there. Off we go again. Little bit of breeze now coming through and she's starting to work this out. If she's staying close by, I'm giving her small bits. If she's knocking it up a cog, I'm giving her bigger bits. I do not want her 1,000 foot today, half a mile away. Whoa! Get in there. I want her quite close by. Give her a round of applause. Well done.